Okay, I'll call the meeting to order and begin with the land acknowledgement statement. On Tuesday, April the 8th, 2025, we acknowledge that this sacred land on which Smiths Falls is now located has been a site of human activity for over 10,000 years and is rich in Indigenous history. This land is the ancestral and unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation. We are grateful to the Algonquin ancestors who cared for the land and water in order that we might meet here today. We are also grateful to the Algonquin people for their contribution in the making of the Rideau Canal, which runs through Smiths Falls. We are mindful of broken covenants and the need to reconcile with all our relations. Together, may we care for this land and each other, drawing on the strength of our mutual history of nation building through peace and friendship, being mindful of generations to come. First item of business is the approval of the agenda. Does anyone want to add anything to the agenda first? No? Would someone move that we approve the agenda then, please? Class, and a seconder? Jonathan? Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. All in favor? And then the minutes of the last meeting, which was on March the 11th, which you have already received from Marie. Would someone move that we adopt those minutes, please? Jenny, and the seconder, Dawn. All in favor? Great, thank you. Disclosure of monetary interest, anyone? No? Hearing none, we'll go ahead with the priority issues. The first one is our proposed process for designation. And this is designation of the properties of interest that are already listed on the municipal register but have not been formally designated under the Ontario Heritage Act. So we have in your package the process, which we had in draft form at the last meeting, I believe, and you have received via email. So the process, first of all, is called the work plan. And phase one is this month, April 2025. It goes through phase two is May to November, December of 2025. Phase three is January to October, November of 2026, by which point we hope that the process will be complete. Is there any discussion or comments about the process that we have in place here, or that we're proposing to put in place?
Great.
Well, everyone's had time to digest it, I guess. I think we should have a motion. Yes. We need a motion to approve this so that it will no longer be in draft and will be something that we will get started working on this month. Would someone move that we approve this? Dawn moves that we approve this process, and class seconds. Any discussion before we approve it? Last chance. Okay, all in favor of approving this plan then? Great, thank you. Approved. And then, as part of the same topic, we have some print materials. We've got a letter, a form letter, that we would send to a property owner indicating that we've done some research on the property, that it's already a property of interest, and that we're proposing to move forward and formally designate that particular property. We also have the property review form for us, according to the work plan, to do some real examination, study of the property in question. And in addition to noting the heritage attributes of the property, also doing some research on the associative value, like is the property associated with an important person or event in the history of Smith Falls, and also it could the contextual value could also be part of the review that we're doing on a particular property. So we have that, and we also have a guide, the Buildings of Canada guide, provided to us by Stantec, I believe.
Stantec suggested that this is one we might want to use.
Yes, oh, I see. It's from the Park Service. So the architectural styles are detailed in here, so that we should be able to fill out the review form fairly capably using the information in this guide here. So we have that, and the third thing is the property owner's guide, the pamphlet that we really needed before we would be able to approach any property owner and talk to them about designating their property. So that's been prepared, and we decided to put in a couple of photographs of individual residential properties that are already designated. 9 Russell Street West is one of them, and 36 Elmsley Street South is another. So at the time that a visit would be made, or a contact would be made in person with the property owner, we would be providing this information for them. And something else is the actual list. So Marie has highlighted on here the properties which are on the register but have not yet been designated and would not be included within the Heritage Conservation District. Correct? Yeah. So that's everything in the package. Now I have to put mine back together in the right order. That's going to be tricky. So does anyone have any questions or comments about this package of print material? Jonathan?
So have any of these been used yet, like with any of the previously designated things, any of these tools?
No.
So they're all brand new?
This is all new, yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, and then, well, first of all, they look awesome. And then is this your fine work? Or
It's the accumulation of a few people. So Carl and Dorothy and I worked on it.
Sweet. Okay, cool. Just looking for context. That's all for now.
Anyone else, class?
Yeah, this is great. There's a lot here, but I like the letter that was formulated. I think it really explains it quite nicely. And I guess my question is now this designated property review form, who fills that in?
Well, as part of the work plan here, it has been suggested that we do a dry run. Is that in the agenda here?
Yep. So it's the criteria checklist that you're talking about, right? So
yes, right. Yes. So the idea is that we would do a dry run using the station theater because it's not a residential property. We're not going to be stepping on anybody's toes.
Perfect.
And then we would, as a group, we're going to pick a date, and whoever's able to come, Marie and I and Carl, and anyone else on the committee who's available, we were looking at maybe one day in the first week of May to get together and actually do it together on site. And then we would bring that completed checklist to the next meeting of this committee so that everybody could have a look at it and see how things are going. And then after that, the plan is yes, it's in here. Members complete the designation criteria checklist for one property for training purposes in May of 2025. And that we think the Station Theatre is a good choice for that. Then after that, we divide up the highlighted properties on this list. So different members of the committee become a property lead on this after we've done the dry run and after we've talked about it here at the committee level. Okay?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does,
For
makes great
phase
sense.
2.
So someone's gonna have to do some research to answer some of these questions, such as the dates and when this place was built and so on.
That's right. It's going to involve some work, yes.
Involve-
Some research, yeah, that's for sure.
Research.
Yeah.
And I guess once we get to doing some of the property owners,
Oh, sorry, just a minute though. I've already done research on these properties. For every one of these that is on the properties of interest list, we've already done some preliminary research. And there is a piece of paper that says, I'm not sure what the title is anymore, Statement of Cultural Heritage Value and Interest for that specific property. So some of the work is done. Marie has that information for each one of these properties. So that's a starting point. And then, so you're not necessarily going to have to go and find out. I may have already said in that when it was built, most likely. It's the architectural style that's going to be tricky and the details about, you know, the kind of roof that's on the building and so on. But we do have this guide to help us with that. So we're going to do our best here to,
because it may take a couple sessions to go through this to
yeah,
get the right answers.
yes, definitely.
Once we put the answers down, it gets recorded, right?
Yes, once we have it done, and we would review all of them.
Right.
And then after that would be the time to consider approaching the property owner. So what do we have here in the plan? August to October. That's in phase 2. The property lead completes the criteria checklist, takes photos, gathers historical information, and compiles a property report which includes that checklist and a summary of the history of the property outlining its heritage values. Okay? So that goes on between August and October of this year. And then November to December, the committee reviews all those property criteria checklists that have been done to date, prioritizes the properties for designation based on the scoring from the checklist. So we would be ready to go ahead. And then when we get to phase 3, we have a heritage consultant reviewing the criteria on each of the properties to verify the information. So it's not just going to be relying on one person is the point I'm trying to make here. The committee will look at everything, a heritage consultant will, and then after that, and we're looking into next year then, in January to March of next year, that's when we start contacting the property owners and sending the letter of introduction, providing the pamphlet, talking hopefully about some kind of incentive, which is something that we need to address as well. Jonathan?
Can you tell me a little bit about the heritage consultant component in phase 3? What that is?
I don't have any details about that right now. Do you, Marie?
Well, the thought, there are no details. The thought is that we would have a heritage consultant review the work of the committee just to verify some of the criteria.
It's like a stand tech, and we pay them a bunch of money, and then they look it over.
Yes.
Okay.
Something like that.
I want to really clearly state we've got a lot of big intelligence around this horseshoe right now. Just because they're a consultant working at Stantec does not mean that they know more than this table. There's people here with multiple degrees and papers and advanced degrees and postgrads here. I just want to make sure that we know that we're in control here and to not fall down the rabbit hole of the consultation process.
Right. Beth?
Excellent point, follow up, because a lot of us know some of the background of these properties and so forth. It can answer a lot of questions. I guess in order to do it properly, to make it look good to Heritage Ontario, whoever, consultant would have to be involved. Who pays for that consultant?
It would be part of the town's budget.
Towns can pay for that?
I don't know.
Is Christopher nodding?
It's the same as any other, like the Heritage Conservation District or the bylaw rewrites. We'd put a proposal together, it'd come up at budget time, and council either approves or denies the funding request. So.
Good, because that can get expensive.
We would want to make sure that whatever we've done is robust, right?
Yeah.
And I'd like to empower our committee to bring that forward, because
Mhm.
I'm suggesting that we might be able to get there maybe without the consultant. And just make sure that if we have to have one, do we have to have one?
But that's further down the road in the plan.
course, yeah,
So,
it's-
so yes, you
it's like
made
in
a
a
good
year.
point. Um,
Comes fast.
yeah.
Sure, fair enough.
Okay, any other discussion or comments, questions about this process?
Super good.
We're on the print materials there. Everyone's okay with the print materials? And, I mean, first of all, we have to try it out.
Yeah.
And then we'll bring that trial run one back to the committee and we'll talk about it as a group. Is the checklist working, you know, are we able to fill in all the parts? Are there any problems or so on, okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
So that was, do we need a motion on that too, Marie?
Can't hurt.
All right. So, all right, so would someone move that we approve the print materials then for this process?
Sure.
Dawn moves and Jonathan seconds. All in favor? Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Next item of business is the durable pedestals cost estimate. And that's a report that Marie has provided for us in your package, further down towards the end. Marie, would you like to speak to that?
Sure, thank you. So in 2024, you asked me to explore the cost of using a more durable material for the pedestals. And so talked to various sources and looking at the pedestals that have the raised metal wording. We looked at those, they're bronze and aluminum. Got a couple of quotes that include installation of those on the current bases. And if you want to look at page 3 of the report, there's a chart there that just shows you who supplied an estimate and what is included and what the warranty is for the materials. Consistently, whoever I talked to said the warranty is barring vandalism. So the warranty is for the materials. So you can take a look at the pricing there, and then I also included what an estimate might be for if we had to put in a new pedestal, like start to finish with the post, the base, etc. Howling Designs gave us just an estimate of what that might cost, and that's included there. And then what the warranty is. So the bronze or aluminum pedestals, which is the more durable material, carry a 20 to 30 year lifespan warranty. Our current design has a 5 to 10 year warranty. And you can see all the replacement costs there. Right now, I just wanted to point out that based on the 2024 conditions report of the pedestals, there are 4 that are considered a priority for replacement, and they're listed there: Heritage House Museum, Victoria Park, the Beckwith Street Bridge, and the CPR station. So you've got some choices. You can use status quo. You can give me direction to go out and get formal quotes now. We need to get a minimum of 3. It has to be based on the same information, and I've outlined what some of that criteria might be. And the reason why is because these are just, these are ballpark figures, and these quotes have now expired.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, go
Um,
ahead.
This is great. Thanks a lot, Marie. It's, for me, looking at the numbers and looking at the lifespan, I really see the value in paying for the higher quality materials. Because when we're only getting 5-ish years or even less sometimes with the vandalism out of the existing ones, the business case seems to be there for the more expensive ones. I don't know if there's, you know what I mean, what the vandalism vulnerabilities are of these ones. Like, can the images be scratched out, or is it more that people can put paint or marker on top of them and then we have to clean it off, or how that side of it goes? But because we haven't had them out there, but it seems, generally speaking, in other places that these plaques last a lot longer. And I wouldn't be surprised if we get more than 30 years out of them, because they like, you look at them on the side of buildings, like some of the Smith Falls designated heritage building plaques that we have up, they've been up since the 70s, and they're still doing well. So yeah, my preference is definitely go with the quality materials. It's just I have a harder time then kind of going between those three options of which one, which one's the one that'll last 50 years versus what's the value for price for the three options.
They're quite a difference in price, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think the precision tool aluminum, it's going to last a lot longer, isn't it?
I'm sorry?
The aluminum ones.
Yeah, bronze or aluminum.
2 points on there. So one, like a really good thing, like I'm noticing some of these ones that are very faded, and then the plaques that are in very good condition, listed like pages 9 through 13 there. Just making sure that we thoughtfully place them so they're not like facing a lot of sun with a lot of regularity.
Yeah.
Or just like if there's a shelter nearby, thoughtfully placing it. So that is one point. I'd be happy to maybe plot these things on a Google map, or on a Google Earth type of looking thing, so we can have a visual. But that's just a side note. The other thing is, do we want to try to offset any costs with like soliciting a sponsorship from like a nearby business that's currently existing there, or something, or like a relevant business to the designation, or like a larger one like a CPKC who might just give us a pile of money to do all of them? Something like that. Like, do we want to get into the weeds with that, or is that not really necessary for this?
Any comments? Bruce, go ahead.
I guess it comes down to, I'm not sure, we've never done anything like that before. So is there, however that process would work, how much, I think the big thing for this kind of a project is how much real estate do we have for putting a logo or something on?
Yeah, and I'm sort of envisioning like, I guess when you're selling ads in a newspaper and you've got like that little bit there at the bottom, or just like the curling rink sells for their rocks, or the arena for the boards, just here's what's serving up. This is, it's going to be about Agnes Crane. You'd have a bar at the bottom. Do you want it? It's more of like a contribution to town, less than good advertising.
Some of these have already been done, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, was it 3? Did we replace 3 last year?
3 last year, correct.
So do you recall which 3 they were? I know the
town hall, the market building, and Frost and Wood.
Okay. Class?
Jonathan makes a good point. My only concern with that is that if you ask people to sponsor a plaque, are they going to be part of the decision making of what that plaque is, or whatever? You're just going to say your name gets on there. You have no say what kind of plaque it's going to be.
I'd say that'd be about it, but whatever.
As long as they accept it.
Yes, because we're wanting uniformity here,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we just want
There
to
will be a design.
Mhm.
So
Just for some of these plaques that are in deplorable condition, are they aluminum? Are they bronze? Or what were they made out of?
Sorry,
yeah.
which ones are you looking at?
Well,
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 well, they're laminated, aren't they? Is that?
The current pedestals, they're alu panel. And then there's a laminate over top of them that is supposed to protect them from UV rays. Let's see here.
Yeah, Jonathan's point about south facing is a good one, because the one that says it's number 10 here, Beckwith Street and the bridge, that one faces south. And it's faded right away.
There you go.
Yeah. And also we hopefully will be looking at Heritage Conservation District signage, top end of town and the lower end of town, which wouldn't be like these, I would think. It would be something special, Chris.
I think when I think about the sponsorship side of things, it also makes me think of the logo branding we want to use. And in my head, when we're putting branding on something that's going to last longer than the life, or the branding's going to not last as long as the life of what we expect the pedestal to last, I'd rather us use the coat of arms of the town instead of the Rise of the Falls branding, because in 10, 15 years, this will probably be out and then it's dated.
I think that's a nice nod to the heritage feel that we've got going on as well.
Yeah, like for example, the behind the horseshoe was supposed to be the coat of arms, and for some reason that got mixed up in
what a
the
life.
process. But I just think when we're doing something that's more timeless, then that's the right thing to use. And then I also think, as much as you can put a business on here, is that business going to be like an Air Care Drive situation where we've still got the street, but we don't have the
Fair enough.
business that's long gone?
Yeah.
But for revenue, if we did want to start looking into that, like maybe sponsorship for the Heritage Symposium, right? Like that's something that, if we could get sponsorship for that and then maybe use some of that surplus money in turn to pay for this, it might give better value to the business. But if somebody wanted to give us 10 grand to put their logo on it, I wouldn't say no, I guess. I don't know.
Who's going to do that?
Yeah, like
sure.
But if there's somebody that wants to, great. And I guess, sorry, my third point was just, I noticed on the Howling Design one has UV printed colors. So there's a big difference to me of the ones that have the raised lettering that can pretty much be pressure washed off, or, use chemicals to get paint or whatever off them if they're vandalized. But that if it's just printed on, I think we're going to have the same issues that we have with the laminate, where it'll be easier to be scratched off. So if one of these options was more of that raised text that you can see on like the provincial ones, and if that's the difference of the 6,000 versus the 3,600 one, I would lean to the higher price for that longevity, because I'm hoping we can put these out and we don't really have to think about this for the rest of any of our careers on this committee,
If I may, Dorothy?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
For the more expensive option, it does not include installation, and they were actually one of the first ones I contacted, because I took a picture of one that's in Embrun that this company has done, and I wanted to know how long it had been there. It'd been there like 20 years or something, but the photo's been scratched on it. So that's a good point, that when I do the request for quote, as I'm hearing that I might be doing, is make sure I ask them what types of vandalism will affect this, so that we know going into it.
Well, yes, they can't warranty against vandalism, can they?
No.
Well, I mean, spray paint or whatever is easily acquired.
Marie, is there anything that Howling Design has done that you could see?
I'm sorry?
Is there any that Howling Design has done?
I asked for an example, and they directed me to a website to get this example, which I did. So I'm not sure. It's the long and short answer.
So you're saying that the Howling Design one is not raised lettering then? Is that what you mean, Chris?
Well, I'm just wondering when they have that UV printed colors detail, because it says raised logo and top copy, but then UV printed colors, and I don't understand what those two things are kind of contradictory to me. Is it that the logo is raised, but the letters are printed, or and if that's the difference in price between the 4,000 and the 6,000, then it'd probably be better to pay the difference. And even if we just did one a year or two a year for X number of years until they're all done. At least once they're done, right? And another option too, maybe if we're going that route, is like there's a lot of great graphics on stone, and I don't know what the price of stone versus metal would be, but we could leave it open, and if somebody wants to apply for the RFQ, because like the NCC in Ottawa's got some good examples of images on the stone. In the cemeteries now, there's good image quality on stone, and I'm guessing it's going to be more expensive, but it might be worth opening it up, and you never know what we'll get. But I really like the business case for doing something once, and hopefully we get 30-50 years out of it.
So Marie has listed in the report option 1, status quo, which would be to keep on replacing the pedestals we have as they deteriorate. Because it's a lot cheaper. Then option 2 is to go with a more durable bronze or aluminum pedestal. And option 3 is that we could think of other options. So we certainly couldn't afford to do them all at once. No, we would have to. And how would you go about
Which one?
getting estimates when it was just a couple a year, and then
So what I would do is send out the request for quote before the end of April and have it include stone as an option as well. And then once we get those quotes back, you can review them in May and then make that determination on which pedestal or pedestals you want to replace based on the available budget.
Would you also include in that quote that we're going to do, let's say 4 this year? If that's what we're going to do. And then every year we're doing extra ones, so they know that.
Whatever you want included in that quote.
So they know that there's a continuing business happening.
yeah, that's what I was getting at. I guess
Yeah,
I didn't
sorry.
say it very well. You're right. Yeah.
My concern too is with some of them, they're saying installation included, and some are saying no.
Right.
I think we want them to include installation.
So I did up a quick list under option 2, request for a quote to include the shape and size of the plaque, type of material, and we want either bronze, aluminum, or stone. We want the warranty information. We want it to include design setup, and we want to see a proof of one. We want installation on the existing posts and an idea of how that might impact those posts. Those posts were developed for what's there currently, and these are going to be a lot heavier.
Yes. The concrete base, they're all going to be putting on a concrete base.
They're all on concrete base now.
Okay, and what's the specifications of the concrete base?
I don't know. I'd have to talk to
Well,
Public Works, I guess, who poured the bases this time, who poured the bases initially, and then the company went in and installed the.
Yeah, I think it'd be best if the Public Works pour the base. Do the base.
And that's for new pedestals.
New pedestals, yes.
But for the existing ones, we'd also need to see what the impact is on using those heavier plaques on the existing bases.
The problem with just doing a couple at a time is that the existing pedestals continue to deteriorate and look worse and worse as the years go by.
I wonder for this kind of stuff if we could, maybe there's some kind of grant out there.
Yeah, maybe.
That, if we could get 100,000 in a grant, we could do them all in one shot, or whatever that price would be. But I don't know. I don't know if that's something that the Trillium funds, or if the arts grants, like the same kind of grant we got for the mural, counts for all kind of cultural stuff as much as it does physical art and stuff. Like I don't know what's out there, but maybe it's worth looking into.
Yes.
Because it's there's no way to do this without spending a big amount of money, and the best way to do it would be to do it all in one shot, and then we'd get probably a better value per plaque too.
Yes, I imagine we would. Yeah.
What we do is
It might also open up the door for sponsorship from private people, but you have to be careful when you do that. We're trying to do that with the Cataract Way Trail right now. So they want their plaque put on benches, okay? But how long, you have to specify how long does your plaque stay on that bench? And what happens when that bench has to be replaced or repaired or whatever? So there's a lot of things you really have to have really laid right out.
Yeah.
But if we could get sponsorship just in general to replace plaques, not saying, okay, your name's going on such and such a plaque, just to replace plaques. And then maybe there's somewhere, just like at the arena where we have the Walk of Fame, you know, maybe there's a place there that a nice plaque could be done up with people's names on it that have donated, but they're not necessarily on.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Don. I've been involved in sponsorships and it gets real dicey.
And you have to have everything laid out very, very clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're involved in people wanting to sponsor a tree at the Heritage Museum. They were picking something that grows in Southern California, not here.
Mhm.
So, it's,
Applying for some kind of funding is an appealing idea. Is there just, can you look into that possibly, Marie?
Mhm.
It's not something I know anything about.
I don't either, but I'll find out.
Okay.
the federal politicians are throwing lots of money around right now.
So where do we stand on this? Do we want to get quotes? Because I think you suggested by the end of April, right? Do we want to go ahead and get the quotes? Chris?
Maybe, like when we think of it from a budget wise, I guess what I'm thinking is we want to get quotes to get a better price idea. And then for grants and stuff, we've got that information, but it's also unlikely to happen this summer.
Yeah.
Especially if it's, you know, if there's a grant we want to go for and we want to apply.
Agreed.
So I don't know. I guess it's kind of a thing too of where the workload's at. Like if this is something you've got a lot of time for right now, then like great, let's get it. But if you know you've got CIP stuff, I know there's other stuff too. So I wouldn't stress about it for a May meeting when we're kind of planning into next September, October for that next budget cycle. But I would love to see maybe a quote if we did a request for quotes or proposals for if we did it plaque by plaque versus if we did them all at once, and then just open it up to any kind of material that's going to last 30 plus years. So metal or stone or whatever somebody out there thinks they can put together for us at a competitive price.
How long do the quotes usually last? Like 6 months or less, or 3 months?
60 days, if you're lucky, 30 days.
30 days.
30
Oh,
days, 60
okay.
days.
So
So
these
that'll just be giving us information then, won't it?
Yeah.
Because we're not going to act it. We're not
These-
going to act on it that quickly.
these few that are undergoing repair, 3, 12, and 15. One is hit by a snow plow, the one that you can't see at all.
Those were done.
They're done.
So
yeah.
they are done.
Yep.
And they're in there and they're good to go.
Yep.
So then when I look over here in priority 1 needs full replacement, 1, 5, 10, and 14, how bad are they? Like I'm seeing them here in the grainy images and stuff, but it'd be nice when we're sending folks around the town at Old Home Week and things like that, you know, we can stand beside this stuff.
Well, they're pretty terrible.
Okay.
I can certainly speak to number 14. Number 14 it might as well not be there.
Number 14.
It looks so dreadful. It would be better if it wasn't there at all.
Oh, the Station Theater one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if 1, 5, and 10 are just as bad,
Okay, because 14 doesn't look that bad in the picture compared to the other ones, so
oh, it's terrible.
5 is up. Okay.
Yeah.
Is this, if I could get, so they're like, council will bring updates from committees to the council meetings. Maybe if I took the pictures and part of the update, I could just go through a quick slideshow of them of this is the condition they're in to give people that visual of this is, you know, it's not a vanity project. It's these things are wearing out faster than we thought, and it's just not a good look for the town.
They detract now from the
They
town.
detract, yeah.
Yeah, they do. In my opinion, better off if some of them weren't actually there. They look so dreadful.
Especially one on Riverdale Avenue.
it's very unfortunate that their lifespan was so short.
Yeah.
And we replaced them all when the town's logo changed, did we not? Yeah,
Oh, gross.
yeah.
So they've already undergone a couple revamps. We're on like on a third cycle here
No, they were installed in 2017, 2018
with
with
old.
their current, in their current
Oh.
design.
But
Okay.
prior to that, though, were they not with the old logo?
Maybe some, but I know we did a big expansion.
Yeah, we did.
Like 22
Yeah.
or 17. you said?
So that, yeah, 17, 18, 19. I
Some of
think.
them-
I
Oh,
forget
okay.
what
So
was-
there was the original pedestals, and I'm not sure how many there were. And then in 2017, 2018, you installed the majority of them.
Yeah, I think
that
that
are
was
in
a
their
big,
current
a big
materials.
expansion.
We had
from
this thing
previous-
called the Heritage Trail,
Oh, yeah.
and
Ah,
this this was quite a long time ago,
Yeah.
and it was the old logos on here on
Yeah,
this card.
some of that action.
So they were changed.
Did we double the number, or is it just in my head that we added a bunch when we?
No, we didn't double the number.
Okay.
We might have added we added the Agnes Crane house. But I don't think we had a lot.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Seems like a bigger idea in my memory. But we did redo them all for the new branding, so they all that to say a
There are
significant amount.
there are 16 on this card
Wow.
of the original pedestal.
Can I see that card, Dorothy?
So out of the 16, there were already some of these in place when you replaced them so they were replaced in 2017,
Yes.
2018, I see. And was it the same kind of value panel material, or what
Don't
was it
remember.
that was replaced?
I remember having a conversation back when we replaced them that the previous ones didn't work well, and we need to use better material, spending too much money on vandalism, getting destroyed. And
Gotcha.
this
And
was
there were
supposed to
there
be
were
a-
a lot of problems with the French translation as well,
Yeah.
which we corrected as much as
Okay.
possible when
Gotcha.
the new ones were done. So
So that's another good point. If we're going to be redoing ones, maybe getting those looked at again, just to, like, it wouldn't hurt, if we catch more stuff.
This is great. Should definitely get one of these going for like when you're spending all this money on this stuff. Let's get one of those guys going.
yeah.
Mhm.
It's very neat.
So how do we want to proceed with this? I mean, we can ask Marie to get quotes, but then what? What will we do after that?
Chris is gonna maybe chat with council about the condition, get some attention on the matter.
Well, and maybe that's the, before we create more work for you, maybe we should get a read from council of if they're supportive or not supportive.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because, if it's a strong sense of apathy from the horseshoe, then I guess we could still, maybe it's like, let's see what grants are out there, and maybe, I don't know, maybe bring it to a committee of the whole and we can go through the images and say, it's a detraction right now from what we're trying to accomplish, and try to read the room out of where they're at.
That's a
Okay.
good idea. So Marie doesn't need to do anything right now then?
Maybe look into grants.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote down that I'm going to look into grants. We want a report to go to council.
Trying to think of how we can do it with the least amount of work.
Yeah,
Maybe that,
too formal.
I don't know how we can, because if I bring it as a report to a council meeting, there's not going to be any action item, or I can't, so I don't think we can get out of doing it as a committee of the whole. But I don't think it needs to be a big, like, we can just recycle the,
Yep. So a PDF with the pictures and a few talking points, just more for information for council at this point, rather than a full-blown report.
I think we should focus more on the condition of the existing ones and the lack of durability side of it, just so we get them on side for that problem.
Is council used to just receiving reports from their committees with some amount of regularity? Or that is not common?
Well, there's difference between receiving, like, councilors are always bringing reports to council meetings, but there's no action item. What
Yeah.
we're looking for is a little bit of direction of how,
Want a little bit of action.
Yeah, do you want us to keep spending X amount per year, which is more expensive over the life of the unit, or do you want us to invest in something a little
Right.
more?
Right, and there is a report already, so.
Yeah, like just
That's a good
Yeah.
start anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
see what,
Okay.
just get some buy-in from them. But hopefully if there's a grant for this for like.
yeah, maybe some
fingers
knows about it.
crossed.
But the other thing too.
Oh,
that
the
we
Heritage
need
Sign Grant.
Now making difference.
Yep,
And
yeah.
then if we start saying, you know what, we need some funding to replace all of these, now you've got the public aware of what it is. And they also are aware of how bad the ones that we have look. And so they'll want, could get interest.
Yeah.
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 So we will talk about this again at our next meeting then. Okay,
Sorry, Dorothy, just for clarification, what's my target date here for getting something to council? What do you think is good?
Any time in April, May, June window?
Top of June?
Yeah, like
End of May, top of June?
depending how busy you are, like I don't see it as like a rush or a big,
Yeah,
as something to be stressful, you know?
mhm,
okay, good, thanks. I'll target end of May, top of June.
Sure.
okay.
Unless any, I can't, funding wise, we're never gonna get this done before Old Home Week, so. we're
Oh, of
kind
course not. No, no.
No, not if we want to do it right.
Okay, next item is the symposium, but I guess that's going to be discussed in the subcommittee at the end of this meeting. Unless, I don't think there's anything we want to talk about right now. So item number 4 is our budget, which again is included in your package. And Marie said she would talk about budget to us.
Thank you. So I haven't put a lot of numbers to our budget yet. Just earmarking some money for the symposium, and that's just based on previous years. And then I just put down a list of things you might want to earmark money for. Confederation Bridge commemorative plaque maybe this year. Stay tuned for timing. Properties of interest, we don't really need to focus anything on budget there. I was thinking more along the lines of print materials and such, but that's done. The Ontario Heritage Conference is something you might want to consider sending someone to. Dorothy has the information there. I figure to send somebody to Picton for a few days. We'll run between $1,100, maybe $1,500, including accommodation, registration fees, and mileage.
Right, that's if anybody was actually going to go to the whole thing and stay for 2 nights.
Yep.
When is it?
It starts on June 19th, so that would be the evening. I presume that's a Friday. And it runs, so the 19th, 20th, and 21st. It'll be a weekend, I assume. In the past, we have said, I'll go on the Saturday and you go on the Sunday kind of thing, to divide it up. And it reduced the need for accommodation in that case. But I have Marie has provided the program here, so
It's in our
I mean
packet.
it's coming up. No, there's just the one copy here.
Oh.
It's coming up very soon, and booking accommodation at the last minute is probably not going to happen
There.
because it's quite limited down there in Prince Edward County. So if anyone is interested in going, you should be thinking about it right now, I guess.
When's the early bird registration
End of April.
is coming up?
The dates are what, June?
June 19th, 20th, and 21st.
And what you did in the past is split it up. The
Well, we
19th
have done that,
The
yeah.
19th is just registration day,
The
right?
19th is like the
There's speakers.
speakers, it says on the 19th, registration available from 2 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Oh,
And then the welcome reception starts at 5 o'clock. There's a speaker.
What's the cost of a registration without the accommodation?
$300.
Or any bones a person?
plus taxes, which includes the food. So that's the registration for the whole event, right?
And then
Um,
accommodations.
Accommodations, Marie has estimated $540 for 2 nights. And then mileage as well.
That's a good deal. 542 nights.
Well,
I just went on
Seems
and
like a lot to
averaged
me,
it from a
but-
couple of hotels there.
so then on the Saturday, there's keynote speaker, a keynote, and there are various sessions, and the meals are provided, obviously. So,
Most of the meals, some are not.
oh, okay. Prince Edward County, so it'll be in Picton, I guess.
So how far is Picton past Kingston?
Hour and a half.
Belleville,
Oh,
maybe close to
Going to
stay.
Sandbanks.
Unless you go on
Hour and
that
a half.
ferry.
Hour and a half.
you're looking at least a good hour and a half drive.
And 2.5. Hour to Kingston, another hour past. And a half.
Oh.
Might even be 3.
No, it wouldn't be 3. Not
I
one
could hit
way.
Toronto in 3 hours. It's like about a 2-hour drive.
About that, yeah, about that. So, I mean, a person could go for the day,
What's the
come
most,
home again, but
what's the most important day?
I don't know. I have only just seen this today. So if you're really interested in it, you can have a look at it. Is anyone else wanting to?
I can circulate copies to each of you if you'd like.
Well, to anyone who really is interested in going, maybe,
I'd be interested.
Your trees there, class. You don't want us all to have copies.
No. I'd be interested in it, it's just whether it's stay overnight or come back and forth. It's a long drive.
Yeah.
I'll have to see, it's a bad time of the year for me too.
Mm.
Although I'm supposed to be retired right now, I think.
You're supposed to be, as far as I know. Anyway, that's,
Yeah, let's think about it. I'll take a
that's-
look at the
that's the
itinerary and-
information. You want to take a look at
Sure, yeah.
it?
So I can circulate that via, there's a link, and I'll just circulate it via email.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, so back to the budget. Anything else that you want to?
That's it.
No.
The, with the plaque conversation we're having, I'm okay with keeping that money aside, and as long as we can make sure we're not gonna lose it or it's gonna go into the surplus next year, and then if we go forward, we've got some money already put away towards.
Does it roll forward? Is it a use it or lose it situation?
Well, it's the budget, so you can carry forward unused funds.
We have done before. Yeah. Well, if it was earmarked for the pedestal repairs or replacements, then I would think that we could carry it forward.
Yeah, we've carried a balance forward before,
Yes, we have. yeah.
but it's been taken away from us before, so we just need to keep an eye on it.
Right, both things have happened.
Yeah, as long as we're watching it, we should be good.
I think we wanna make sure we spend it up.
So I'll make a note then in November, December, when end of budget is rolling around, to send a note to finance, or send it to Carl to ask that gets carried forward to our additional new budget in 2026.
So we actually have a budget of 13,000, is that correct? And we're thinking of spending what? Do we know, or out of that 13?
The symposium's coming up, and I presume that's going to have some costs associated, right? Unless we get that covered by something.
Right, the
It's possible.
symposium, yeah, the symposium has costs and potential attendance at this conference.
Yeah. And
Um,
potential, the consultant review of the designations.
I think that would be next year. Would it? 2026?
It would be into January by the phases.
Yeah. So it would be, there should be money that we could save up for the pedestal repairs. There's also the Confederation Bridge commemorative plaque on this list.
Hmm.
That,
That one can we get that grouped into the Confederation Bridge budget? Because when we've got a $2 million budget
Yeah.
to nickel and dime us for a plaque,
Yeah.
I agree,
and when you
yes.
think of the plaque on the police station or the plaque at the arena, it's not like those were just included in the cost of the
Mhm.
project, right?
Yeah, no, I would agree. Extra $1,000 is not gonna kill them.
No, on that budget, it's within the contingency. In our budget, it's a 10% charge, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What other plaques exist around town that are not our plaques? Should we be taking account of those somewhere, some way?
I don't.
Like the police station one, right? Like that's inside of our no, because we're just.
Yeah.
I guess that's outside of us. I guess
I
it's not all plaques.
wasn't here when the original things that are on this card were put up.
Mhm.
But when we went and replaced them, it did come out of our budget, did it not?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it did, but
But then
we
we got
had-
a boost to our budget because we used to only get 5,000,
Right.
and then we started getting 10.
and we had discussions about why are we paying for it? Shouldn't it be economic development and tourism paying for it?
Yeah.
Right? Because why really is it the Heritage Committee's duty to, out of our budget, to do that, Marie?
I thought from, being new, I thought it made perfectly good sense for the cost to be here because this group determines if it's a property of interest, does the wording for the plaque, you have complete control. So if your costs are rising as a result of having to replace the plaques and so forth, then you just, maybe perhaps you need to ask for more money in order to replace them properly. But I thought it made perfectly good sense for that cost to rest here.
Okay.
Open to other suggestions.
All right, so,
Well, just one other question
Yeah.
on that, I guess. What's the difference between a municipal heritage committee and a heritage house? Like the Heritage House Museum just does their own museum stuff, and then municipal heritage committee is responsible for just like broadly all heritage matters in this town, or is there a distinction? Just
Yeah.
because we look at buildings a lot. Are we looking at like cultural significance of these plaques and things? Do we go into that as well? Like it's part of the designations, I guess.
yes.
So it's all inside of this committee, eh?
Yeah. The Heritage House Museum just has the same name, just has the word heritage.
That's all,
It's
eh?
not connected to what, no, it's not dependent on
Okay.
anything we do. Yeah. I hope I'm correct about that. I think so.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're an entity separate from us. Okay. So we've got an updated work plan. This is priority issue number 5. Just for your information. I mean, you can see in there who's doing what and what the target dates are. And a few things here have been added as well. So that's just for reference. So moving on to project updates. So we have pedestal maintenance 3 to replace there, but are we going to skip over that now?
Yeah, we're done.
We've really talked about that. And the proposed Heritage Excellence Award, the symposium subcommittee is going to be discussing that. So we're on to roundtable. Anyone have anything for roundtable?
Yeah, do you have that other card there again, Dorothy? Just, I'm always wanting to add information. Struck me here, Ryan's Park Racetrack.
Yeah,
down Lower Reach.
it's there.
Yeah, that was the racetrack where Bert Cameron raced his horses. Everybody remember Bert Cameron? I have pictures of Bert Cameron's horses racing and so forth. They were connected with our family. The stables were at the end of Hershey Drive at one time. That's where his stables were. And the Ryan Park Racetrack was used a number of years ago by Dr. Asheville for a road rally race. Remember that, Don?
Yeah, I do remember.
Showing your age, sorry, Don.
Nothing wrong with showing our age, it's just knowing that we're just like a big bottle of wine. You know? All that information.
Anyway, they brought the road rally to Smith Falls. That was through Dr. Asheville, and that was held at that racetrack.
A lot of these things we don't have plaques up at anymore, eh? That are on this walk,
Oh, yeah,
like the post-war housing.
yes,
Is there a plaque? I'm
these,
looking for it on here.
yeah.
I
Well,
didn't see it in there.
It'll be in there somewhere, there is,
That report, because this was, the ones that needed repair.
Oh, it's not.
It might-
Do we have a definitive list of all the
Yes, I will
signs
search
in Smith Falls?
Well, of all the pedestals, I'll try and dig one out.
You know why? Yeah, I'm not trying to give you like a crazy task, and I don't.
That's all right.
But I guess we got a lot of signs out and about and around from different things. Sign stuff.
anything for roundtable, anybody? Dawn?
Are we looking for another member for here? Because we did have Lorraine Allen and she has backed away, so does that leave us short?
Well, it leaves room, but we're not short the way we used to be, but it means that, I guess, that somebody else could apply.
Okay.
And be considered. Did you want to?
Yeah, I just, I know kind of the end of last term, beginning of this term, we were really struggling to get stuff moving and get stuff going, and there was even sometimes kind of this relationship between the committee and staff and wasn't the best. And the last few months, the amount of work Marie's been putting into stuff is amazing, and we haven't had a staff support like this, I don't think, since Nikki. And nothing on, you know what I mean, there's been busy times in the planning department, but the amount of effort and work that's been going into all this stuff is really noticed and appreciated. And the meetings definitely, just the whole feel of everything, it feels like we're getting stuff done again and we're back on track, so just big thanks for that.
Yeah,
Pleasure. Thank you.
definitely, I agree.
That's
Thank you very
kind.
much for all your help, Marie.
My pleasure.
Jenny?
Great.
Nothing from me.
No? Well, that's it for roundtable then, I guess. And we're fairly well on schedule, that's good. Next meeting, Tuesday, May 13th. And there's a request to move the October meeting to the 21st.
I like to work ahead. Yeah, if that's agreeable to everybody, because there's a conflict with a council meeting.
Okay. Would someone move that we adjourn this meeting then, please? Class, thank you. Meeting adjourned.
I'll let Tech know.
My paper's back in order.
Yeah.